Yo, bro. So talk to me about how your day went. How was your day, brother?
Oh, my day was productive, man. So as you know, I do the 9 to 5 W-2 employee thing, and then I do 5 to 9. I do a side hustle entrepreneur thing. So we spoke about this. There's not always a perfect balance to your day. It's just a matter of you just prioritizing what you're going to put your energy into that day. So today, the 5 to 9, the side hustle entrepreneur stuff, just took the priority. So I had to pivot, take off from doing 9 to 5, and then just focus. Basically, I made my 9 to 5 day, or 9 to 9 day, should I say, focus on entrepreneur things. So yeah, that's
That's
pretty
tough,
much what I
man.
got.
So when you took time off, right? Did you have
Yep.
to use like a sick day? Like is it paid time off or
Yeah,
vacation time? How does that work?
so it's for, of course, it's difficult for my company is paid time off, or depending if it's something like normally 8 hour shift, but then I got something I need to do, like I need to be available to have a business call, something like that. I may just take time off without pay. So it just varies. It depends on what's going on and how long I need to take away from the 9 to 5. But yeah, I try not to always do that because I got to do the 9 to 5. I can't always
Yeah,
be
yeah,
involved.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm asking because I'm just curious, for people that's watching, right, that have a 9 to 5 job, when they're doing their business, right, apart from their 9 to 5. I'm just curious, and maybe you all can put it in the comments. Are you taking paid time off, or are you willing to say, hey, I'm taking this day off, knowing I'm not getting paid from you all, but my business is going to pay me maybe 2 times more than what I would have made it working this day. That's the reason for asking. That's
Got you,
all.
got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, we have a special guest on today's show. Listen, I am presenting to some, introducing to others. The one and only Shaleena, straight from Cleveland, Brown to the show.
Let's go. Hey, put some music. We got a
Yeah,
little
yeah, we gotta come off mute, sister. Come off mute, come off mute, come off
come
mute.
on.
All right, so let's bring that back.
Yeah.
Y'all, so I am presenting to some and introducing to others the one and only Shaleena, straight from Cleveland. Wow. What's up? What up?
Let's
What up, sister?
go. Come on. Come on.
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Good. How are you today?
Fantastic, fantastic. We're so glad that you have taken time out of your busy schedule, your sleeping schedule, to join us on the show today.
Trying to bring up your
I would be a
circadian rhythm. He trying to put you on blast about your circadian rhythm.
I'm okay about it. Okay. I know I'll be in bed at this time and I'm okay.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, I know how you do. I know how Randall
Mhm.
do. I don't know if it's age. I don't know what it is, but
It's all about being an early bird gets the worm. You go to sleep on time, so this way you'll be able to wake up early and get to the grind.
okay, okay, I like that.
Okay,
Go to
now that
sleep
may
on
be his
time. Get to
mentality. Me, I'm just old, okay? And I like to be
the
in the bed.
We don't got to do that. You could just accept it. I gave you a free way out.
No,
You
no,
should
no.
have just
I'm
ran with it.
accepting it. I'm taking full accountability, okay?
I
Okay.
love it. I love it. So, Shaleena, tell people, who you are and what is your forte.
Well, first, my name is Shaleena Brown. I own a HR consulting firm by the name of Brown HR Consulting Firm. I actually focus on small businesses, medium-sized businesses as well, doing HR consulting work. I've been in human resources for 13, going on 14 years now. MBA, tons of certifications, and it's really my passion. It's something that I love to do. And during the pandemic, I really wanted to focus on the smaller businesses because that's when everybody was opening up all kind of businesses and everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur, and it was great. But it's like I really wanted to focus on, our people to kind of get them to understand that just a simple question in an interview could cost you everything. So that's why I really wanted to focus on the consulting aspect of it.
So you said consulting.
Mhm.
Well, the only way I think of HR, right? Like even after my 9 to 5, I'm thinking that they're embedded within the company. You're consulting, so you're not in the company. Are you
Correct.
like a partner with them? Can you like kind
Yes.
of deep dive into that?
Yeah, so I would be a partner. So they wouldn't have to worry about benefits and, different taxes and things like that. I have, invoices. So I wouldn't be a W-2 employee. So it helps when it comes to relationships within the organization because I'm not biased. Everybody's new to me. So when we're having those difficult conversations, I'm able to see with a clear mind outside of those relationships what actually needs to happen. So I think having a consulting firm to come in, especially with the small and medium-sized businesses, it would be more beneficial than to have an HR department. Because there's that misconception that human resources is just like the evil office. It's like, oh, you're being called to the HR office. It's like dun dun dun.
That's
You
the
know.
snitch office. That's the snitch office. Let's call it for what
And
it is.
listen,
Yeah, that's
for
the
a long
snitch office.
for a long time, that's really what we were. We
Yeah.
just kind of handled policies, but over the years, it has transitioned into something much larger, as far as being strategic and being a partner to the organization, the leaders, the managers, and even the employees. So I think it's transitioned and kind of really taken off, really in different departments from organizational development, talent management, a lot of different things come out of HR. And I think that even people in my family, they say, oh, so you just hire and fire, and I'm like,
So let's backtrack a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Because when I think of HR, right, and it stands for human resources,
Correct.
I picture this office, this standalone office where people are going to file grievances reports, right? To
Mhm.
file complaints, snitch, right? Like they're
Mhm.
going to snitch, they're going to tell on someone. But I've learned from your business, from your consulting firm, that HR actually encompasses way more than just someone filing a grievance, right? So can
Absolutely.
you talk to us about what encompasses human resources and what is it that your firm actually do and how can businesses benefit from it?
Well, it just kind of depends, because I've held different positions from generalist to business partner to manager, now, director. So there's different levels that I can come in at, from a C-suite level, organizational development, leadership development, strategy, strategic planning for growth in their business. But then you get into the manager level where you're kind of focusing on policies and procedures, creating, different documents that they will be able to stand on within the organization. You get into the business partner realm where you're kind of focusing on, benefits and compensation and things like that. So it just really kind of depends on what it is that you're looking for. One of the things that I really, really dislike in HR is probably payroll and benefits. Those are not my faves, because they're too volatile. When it comes to different taxes and you're dealing with benefits brokers, like everything is just, it's too up in the air. Like there's too many variables. You have to deal with so many different changes, and you have to be the one to present that information at the end of the day. So I kind of steer clear away from those things, but everything else, as far as strategy, organizational development, leadership development, employee relations, because we do handle those grievances and employee issues, complaints, discrimination claims, unemployment. HR handles all of that as well, but we handle a lot of other things. And
So you said,
honestly, we don't fire employees. HR does not fire employees. Employees fire themselves. We just give you the documents to do that.
so you mentioned something about the grievance, like as the consultant to
Mhm.
the company, are you also handling the grievance that happens within that company? Or we're speaking just to HR as a whole, the
Not as
responsibility?
a consultant. What I would do is I would actually help the manager or the leader or whoever is handling the grievance. I would give them the documentation. I would train them on how to have those conversations, the documentation that they need to file, who they need to talk to, or if, there was a case where, the laws came in and, they had to go in front of a judge, I would give them the information that they need to be able to present in that way.
So is it safe to say that most small businesses do not even have an HR department?
Oh, absolutely. Because
Right,
a lot of businesses don't think that they need it.
right,
There
right.
are a lot of laws that even if you have one employee, there are certain restrictions that you have to follow. Um, even like I said, even if you have a partner, if you have a W-2 employee and you're reporting their wages to the IRS, there are certain laws that you have to follow. But a lot
Wow.
of people are not aware of that, and it goes up. You can go to 15 people, 15 employees. There's a different set of rules and laws for that, 25, 50, so it's a lot of things that you may not be aware of, just kind of thinking from a business standpoint. Hey, I want to open this business. This is my goal. And this is what I want to do. I'm going to make money. And that's great. But there are certain restrictions that you have to think about as far as your business and how you open that up.
So
So-
let's backtrack for a minute if we can, right? Let's slow it down. I know we went straight to the business. I know we got straight to it, but let's get to know who you are, right?
Okay.
Talk to us a little bit. Let the world know, how was your upbringing? And yes, we know that you're a professional now. You're doing big things in the business sector, right? But did you actually see yourself growing up in Cleveland? Because I joke a lot when I hear you say Cleveland, because I initially think the hood, right? So how was it growing up in Cleveland, and was being a business owner something you envision yourself doing as a child?
Not at all. I was born and raised in the projects, and to be where I am right now, director level, master's degree, and all of that, like I never thought that. I never saw that for myself. I think my cousin just said this to me today. She was like, "Remember when you used to work at White Castle? Look at you now, And but the thing is, like, I love the fact that I have that upbringing, because there's that contrast, that you know what I mean. Like I don't have that that kind of greenness to me, you know what I mean? Like I have the book smart, and then I'm not going to say that I'm street smart. Like, I know certain things that go on in the streets, but I'm not naive. So I really, really love the fact that I come from humble beginnings. And it kind of keeps me grounded in all of the blessings that I've received up until this point.
There's a song. I may not have the lyrics correct, but it says something like, "I'm a savage, bougie, ratchet." Is that what it is? Like you encompass all of that?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you're telling
Yes,
us?
because
Okay.
I could go there. Okay.
Oh, all right.
You
I'm just asking. All right, what you got for it, bro? What you
So
got?
you think that you've always had a work ethic? Like the common denominator amongst all entrepreneurs and people who are reaching to some level of success is the work ethic. Do you think you've identified that from a young age? Although you didn't know what lane you was going to be in, do you feel like from a young age you could see that, hey, I do a little bit more than the average person, my peers? So
absolutely. I think I lied on my work permit and told them that I was 2 years older than I actually was, just so I could start working.
Wow.
Yeah,
where do you think?
I started working at like 14 or something.
Now,
like
did you do that because of the family dynamics that you all were in need, where you felt like, hey, I need to help my mom out? Like, was it a 2-parent household? Talk to us about what made you make that decision to
what
lie.
cultivated that?
Yeah.
Well, so the thing is, I'm the oldest and the only girl of the 5 children that my mom had. So being in a house full of boys, my whole life, yes, I did have a 2-parent family household, but it was still in my childhood, I never felt like we were struggling. I didn't even realize that living in the projects was like a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because we always had like anything that we really wanted, we always had. Our house was nice. I didn't, kind of connect that living in the projects was poverty. I didn't look at it like that. But I think when I got older and I got into high school and started seeing all of the clothes and the shoes, and it's like, okay, and I started to ask my mom, like, "Mom, can I get these Jordans?" And she looked at me like I was crazy,
Yeah. I know that. I know that. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was like, okay, well then I need to make my own money so that I can get the things that I want, And once I got a taste of my own money, that was it.
That's that classy part of the song. She wanted to be classy. So
classy. Okay. That was one of them I was missing. It's interesting you talk about growing up in the projects and not really knowing, that you were poor or,
right.
In a certain class,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of your parents. And like for me, for instance, my mom, even though we were raised in the projects, right? And we knew we were poor, but we knew we were poor when we got to school, right?
Okay.
Because even in the projects, there's levels to poverty.
That's true.
There's level. You have those that after the 15th, you know, from the 16th to the 31st, they are, I mean, shucks, them food stamps has been spent already, right? Food is gone. It's hard, right? But my mom, for instance, she had us cleaning the apartment like we were living in a mansion. I'm talking like Saturdays, we were wiping walls, on our knees, washing baseboards.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I totally get where you know you poor, but once you go to school, you're like, oh, yeah, we got 2 outfits. They got something different every day. Yeah, I got it.
You rotate the
got it.
same
So,
two, or same two pants.
yeah, same 2 different shirts, same pair of jeans. You get it.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
You get it. Yeah. What
So you
got?
mentioned that, like, with HR being your passion, at what point in your life did you start identifying, like, hey, this is the industry I want to be in? Like, and then how did you know? Like, you could, yeah. How did you know? That's, I guess, what I want to go for.
Well, the funny thing about it is when you leave high school or get ready to leave high school, everybody's like, go to college, go to college, go to college. But nobody tells you what to do after you graduate. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're lost out there with this degree and now you don't know what to do with it. So I graduated with my bachelor's in communication. And that's, as you know, communication is a broad field. Like you can go just about anywhere, I thought about radio, I thought about magazines, I wanted to be a journalist and, in the beginning, but those jobs were far few in between in Cleveland. So it was like, okay, I need to figure out how to get money and how to make money with this degree that I have. So I started going on interviews after interviews after interviews. Like going on interviews had become a job at that point. So going on so many, I started to interview the interviewers. Like I started to ask them questions about what they liked about the company and why they were hiring. You know what I mean? So it just kind of the tables turned. And it was interesting because they were so receptive to my questions because no one had ever done that before. So it's like now we just having regular conversation, So after a while I was doing that, it was just like, okay, I kind of like this, So I started to think about, human resources as they're related to recruiting and stuff like that. That's really where I started, the recruitment piece. And I think that is where a lot of HR professionals start as a recruiter because it's kind of like the groundwork. It's kind of like you start at the bottom, really.
So as the only daughter, the only female, right, in the household, talk to us a little bit about your brothers. Were they nerds, right? Talk to us a little about your brothers.
They were like my birth control. Okay, I knew soon.
I'm sorry. Say what? She said.
They were my birth control.
Okay.
I did not want any of them.
Got it.
I knew at an early age, I don't want this for my life.
So you're the oldest. You're the oldest. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they drove me crazy, but I was a nurturer at a young age. I had a lot of responsibility, with my parents working, make sure they do their homework, make sure they clean their room, make sure they take a bath, and so I had those type of skills put in me at a young age. So they always got into stuff for sure. Always. It was always something going on at our house as it related to our brothers. But I think that protective nature that I had at a young age, I still have that now,
Oh, so you had to fight growing up in Cleveland.
I had to fight them.
Oh, my life, I had to fight.
And the people that they would call, like, you get into it with somebody and I'm calling my sister. So that was like the thing. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that helped you, like, that shaped you into maturing faster?
Oh,
like
yeah,
you said that
absolutely.
You commented about being 2 years, or you mentioned on an application that you were 2 years older than what you were. And I'm assuming because you were carrying yourself of that to resemble somebody of that age. So being the person who had to take care of your younger brothers, show up, be a protector, somewhat caregiver to them, right? Did that advance the clock on, oh, I got to show up now. Like I got to be like a woman as a girl type of thing.
Absolutely. My mom had me when she was 13 years old. So we actually grew up together, you know, in certain dynamics. But I also learned a lot about my mom. And even in her passing, just hearing different conversations about how, you know, when she was younger, you know, her friends used to like make jokes about her having kids at a young age. And her friends would tell me like, but there was a lot of people who looked up to your mother because she was like 18 with her own apartment. She had her kids. She had a job. You know what I mean? So there were a lot of people in the projects that looked up to my mom because she was so well put together. So of course that was brought into me based on how she moved and carried herself.
Love it.
Wow.
I love your story because you know I'm certain that there's someone watching who may not be in the best environment, so to speak, right? But they're dreaming big, and they know that one day that they're going to be able to, you know, do something that's going to be impactful, not just for them. And it sounds like, and this is actually part of, Randall, what I was going to share to the middle school students, were that, you know, big dreams create big habits, right? And you know when someone has a big dream when it's bigger than them. And it sounds like that when you were younger growing up, that it wasn't just about Shaleena, right? So the decisions you made in life, you were making those decisions because you was thinking about, you know, your siblings, you was thinking about your mom, and that's commendable. Like, I just want to say salute. So we're gonna clap it up for you on that. Clap it up for you on that.
We're gonna add
Awesome.
some sound in. That's what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move forward. Going into college, because you said you have your master's, right? Were you athletic in school, or was it just academics? Like, what made you say, all right, I'm going to college? Because most people growing up in the projects, college is the last of their, you know, on their list. So what made you say, hey, I'm actually going to college?
I didn't think twice about it. Like I thought this was like the thing to do. You know what I mean? Like I never thought about anything different. I never thought about just working. You know what I mean? Like it was a normal process for me to fill out those applications, and because I started off at Central State, but it was way too far in the country and I didn't have a car at that time. So I was like, yeah, nah, I can't do this. So I ended up going back to Cleveland State, graduating from there. But going back to get my master's, it was really just about bettering myself and the advancements, you know, within my career. Of course, the salary increase that comes with a master's degree. And MBA is a little more, for me, I think MBA is a little more, it's better from an HR standpoint because it gives you that business acumen.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think that the master's degree definitely gave me that push that I needed, and then all of the different certifications that I have. So it puts me on a higher scale, but of course, there's still the color of my skin that I have to really kind of take into account. I always thought like if I had all these letters behind my name that I would be able to sit at the table and be included in those conversations, but it's not that easy, you know.
But salute to you. You're creating your own table, right?
It's true.
So yes, you're,
Yeah.
you know, our skin color, you know, that it happens, right? That's life in America, right? But it sounds like you, with your forte, you are actually creating your own table. And I wanted to talk about that. Like, what made you start your own company?
I actually fought tooth and nail about this idea because I really, being an entrepreneur is not something that I wanted to do. I was actually petrified because I'm so afraid of failing, and then it was so unknown. Like I'm like a planner. I need to know what's getting ready to happen, what time, what day. I need the details. So being an entrepreneur was an unknown territory for me, and I was just so afraid. But connecting with one of my good friends, and he kind of just like pushed me into it, and he just kept saying, "This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do." And something happened in my life, and he was like, "I'm telling you, this is the opportunity right here," you know. And I was just like, all right, fine, you know. And we went, you know, to opening up the business, the LLC, and it just took off.
That's dope.
So
That's dope. You
you
said
talk
a
about
planner. I started to call you Randall Jr. because when you started talking about, you know, the planning and this and that, I'm like, that's you, bro.
It's called
like,
structure, brother. It's called structure.
okay.
Thank
That's
you.
what it's called.
All right.
Thank you.
All
He
right.
knows
Structure.
nothing about that. Everything is by the seat of
Structure.
his pants.
Just like building a house, you got to start with a strong foundation. And then build
Absolutely.
upon it.
Preach to this
Come
man.
on. Frameworks, baby.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but that's different perspective. That's why me and Don work. We got he's able to run ahead, and I'm able to just make sure we straight. The foundation's strong.
That's right. Reel me in, brother. Reel me in. Reel me in.
Goodness, because this one here.
So for the I forgot my train of thought. I was about to ask about man, messed up my train of thought. I lost
My
my train
bad,
of
brother.
thought.
My bad. I forgot. You needed it on paper, huh? My bad.
Yeah, I do.
My bad. My bad.
You're so shady.
Yeah, you see how he tried to do that? He tried to do that.
It's so shady.
I had a plan. And went and messed up the plan.
Oh man, my bad.
So
I had another question that I was thinking about before, which is crazy. I remember the one from 10 minutes ago, but not the one from 30 seconds ago. So for the HR being a partner and being not embedded in the company, there are instances where it exists for a company who has embedded HR to sometime outsource for consulting purposes to a consulting HR firm. What would be a situation that you think would that somebody who already has an HR department would want to seek assistance from outside entities such as your consulting firm or something similar?
It could be organizational development or leadership development. If there's employee relations issues that HR department just can't take, they can't handle, because a lot of people start off small when it comes to HR departments. So if they say, hey, we can't handle this in-house, we're going to have to, pull in a consultant. You can actually outsource almost every aspect of HR and payroll, regardless if you have, those departments within your company. Because like I said, it could be way too much, and it could be too critical for your internal department to handle. So you kind of need that outside help, that outside perspective to come in and kind of take an overall look at the culture within the organization. It still can be done whether you have a department or not.
So would you like put that in a sense of like auditing? They're coming to kind of give like a third party view or like a third party oversight to make sure things are running smoothly. There's no efficiencies that could be approved upon
we don't in HR, we don't call it audit. We call it an analysis.
Okay.
So we come in and we do an analysis of where your current state is, where you would like to go, and how we're going to get there.
Got it. So when it comes to profit, right? So every entrepreneur, every business wants to increase profit. And when I think of having a HR department, but then have to have analysis done by an external entity, I think about eating into profit. So what would be like, if I'm a small business and I'm thinking about, I need an HR department, but there's Google. But everybody thinks that they could find something on YouTube.
Or Chat GPT.
Or Chat GPT. Yep. It's like, well, we're in the age of stuff is at our fingertips. What is a situation that you think would, like, from a small business owner who thinks that they can find everything on Google, what would be an example of something like, hey, Google is not going to help you in this scenario, and how can you give a tidbit of like, hey, this is something you need to be aware of. This is how my consulting firm could help, just to give them some understanding of why it's important to have your services offered to them.
Could I answer that just from a personal experience? Right. And of course, Shaleena, you can add to this, but for me, being in business for years, multiple businesses, I never thought once that I needed HR until I realized I needed HR. Right. And so most business owners don't think they need it. And as you just communicated, Randall, most business owners don't even think they can afford it if they needed it. Right. But what I discovered, because we had a revolving door, was that we were losing more money not having it than making the investment. And if we made the investment on the front end, maybe there's some situations that we encounter that we may not have encountered, right? And so, of course, every industry is different. Depending on what your industry is, would, depend on to what extent those services you need, because there's a lot that encompasses human resources. But, I'm just be transparent. I was doing business for years with no employee manual, no handbook. There was no employee handbook, right? So how are you conducting business with employees, paid W-2 employees, that how can you fire them if you don't have anything in writing that says, well, they didn't
So
do
your
this according to
expectations.
your SOP? You're right. So I could have gotten sued for seeing you fired because I didn't have any documentation that supported what I'll fire them for. Right. And most people don't even think like that. Like, oh, you know what? You ain't doing this right, so I'm gonna get rid of you. Nah, there's some laws that protect employees, right? So because you were saying, well, I don't think I can afford it. Well, if you get sued, you're gonna realize, man, I wish I would have had it. So I just want to add that part. But go ahead, Shaleena, you can kind of go more in details, but I just want to make sure I gave them a personal example of, no, every business owner needed. Everyone.
To piggyback off of what he's saying is the misconception for a lot of businesses is that, if I live in an at-will state, that I'm covered and I can fire anyone for anything. It doesn't have to be for cause until you get the paperwork from an attorney or a claim from the EEOC and you have no documentation. And you have to
I'm sorry, real quick. You said at will and EOC. Can you elaborate on those two things?
So a lot of companies state, well, a lot of businesses states say, okay, you live in an at-will state like Virginia, North Carolina, they're at-will states, meaning that you, the employee or the employer, can separate from the company for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be for cause. It just doesn't work out. I don't like you, you don't like me. I can walk away, you can terminate me. That is the law. Okay, it's called at will. However, let's say the employee made a complaint about a supervisor 2 weeks prior. But you, the CEO or the manager from a different department, have no idea about this claim that they put in, and you terminated this employee. Now they could say this is retaliation because I brought a complaint to you about one of your supervisors and y'all terminated me. And if you have no documentation to say that's not what happened, then you have to pay to prove your case. When you go to court, it is on you as an employer to prove your case. Once the employee brings it to the EEOC, it's on you.
Got it. And EOC stands for
Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So let me dive a little bit more of why we needed Brown's HR consulting firm, right? So we did not have SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? So here we are looking to, we're looking to the possibility of franchising a cafe, right? Opening up multiple cafes in different locations and all of this, right? But there's no SOPs. So there's no standard operating procedures. There's no employee handbook. There's no training manual. It's just, hey, we're going to, and this is how most small business owners think. We have an idea. We're going to turn this idea into a business. Mm-hmm. This business is going to make us some money. Mm-hmm. Boom, because we made money, let's go now open up another one, right? And not realizing that you're not creating a machine. You're actually creating, shortening your lifespan, right? And so for us, everything was in my head. Everything was in my head. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And there were great employees. I mean, we had Starbucks managers that we were hiring, right? And then there were people that were leaving, and they had all their various reasons for why they were leaving. And I couldn't understand it. And when it got so bad, I said, hold on now. I have to look at self. Like, it can't be them. They're not the one, they're not the problem. right? Like what do we have going on, or what is it that we're lacking? And so I reached out to say, hey, we need some assistance. Like we need you to come in, come spend a day. And this is what they did. They came and spent an entire day at one of our cafes and just monitored the employee to management relationship, monitored the employee to customer relationship, right? And looked at where our strengths were, where our weaknesses were. And these are some things that you all may need to implement, but it's going to start with first getting your paperwork in order, right? One of the things I never forget, notice, hey, what is your uniform policy? Because I noticed at this specific cafe, they wear this, but at this cafe, they're wearing this. Is it not uniform, right? Do you all not have something in place that state, so I'm telling you, if you are a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, it is imperative that you have HR to some capacity. And I'm not just tooting, Shaleena's horn in her business, but I'm saying there are companies out here. You need to reach out to someone. It doesn't hurt to, have just have them consult with you, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put that plug in.
So for the SOP, Shaleena, do you offer services that help write the SOPs for the small business, or is it more so this is a template and these are kind of the broad things that you need to put in there, and it's up to the owner to kind of fill in the template?
Oh no, I create them when talking to the owner, going over some of the issues. Of course, we will have kind of like we'll go into the industry to see, kind of the things that they go over, the steps. I think what we did for the cafe was we kind of looked at Starbucks and some of the things that they had in place. But of course, a lot of those things are copyrighted. You can't really get into those. So I just kind of took a look at the industry itself. Okay, what are the things that we need to make sure that we cover from a regulation standpoint, from, the regulations in regards to cooking and food and things like that. So it was a lot of things that we kind of had our foundation set on, but then we kind of went a little further into what, some of their concerns were at that time.
So for those small, again, for trying to drive this home on how important this is, some people think they don't have time to do this, and with you providing the assistance to write the SOPs, how much time do you think on the owner's side? I know each industry, each small business is different, but let's say, for example, between you and Dom and the assistance you provided Dom and the cafe, how much time on the owner's side did they really have to take out their day to try to fine tune that SOP?
Well, you've worked with Dom. You know that he could be any and everywhere at any given time. We would have a meeting schedule. He would have another meeting schedule inside of our meeting. Like, so we're all in the room and it's like, sir, this was our meeting time. So then I would have to come back and we would have to try it again.
Just answer the question.
I'm trying here.
just answer the question. You don't have to elaborate on our situation. Just kind of answer the question from a broad perspective.
Only you can answer how much time you invested. Like, there were times where I had to really make him understand, like, hey, I don't think that you're taking this serious. So I know that there will be times where I'll have to have those blatant conversations with other owners to say, hey, I know that, you expect for me to do it, but I can't do it without your ideas. I can't do it without having this conversation with you.
Open the PDF, read the email, Dom. I sent you an email. I need you to look over it. I need you to approve it. And here's the thing. Most business owners are just trying to get the bag, right? We're just trying to get out there and get going. And so for me, I just trust it. Like, listen, whatever she put in there, I know it's right. I don't have to proofread it. But she made sure that before it was final, that I had to actually go in, take notes. Yeah. Okay, well, is this right? Do you want this? Do you want to add this? And so, it certainly saves a lot of time, right? But yeah, she don't play. I think that's where that Cleveland comes out, Randall. I think that's when the Cleveland came out. She thought about back home, and you know what I'm saying?
I think that was Big Sister coming out. Big Sister.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You're right. That's
you're right. You're right.
Yes.
And it was good. It was good. It was needed. It was needed. Yeah, it was needed.
but I don't think I
Yeah.
got a time frame. I don't think that came out.
So I think you got to think about it. I didn't have anything, right? So she didn't just do SOPs for us. We hired them for SOPs. We hired them
Training
for
manual.
employee manual. We
Yeah.
hired them to come
Handbook.
in and do a training with our
Yeah.
employees on the information that they're now being introduced to.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it wasn't just we need these documents and how long did it take? No, it was, okay, you got this, right? But this is new to me as well. So I can't train them on what I'm introducing them to. So we had to hire them to now come into one of our employee trainings and introduce this material to them.
Mhm.
And we're all sitting in there learning at the same time. So
what would you say? Would you say it took like a couple of months?
it did. It definitely took some months, a couple
Yeah.
of months. Yeah.
So you brought up a
Yeah.
good point. You brought up a good point. So there's like the going meme, the startup package. So what does the small business HR startup kit look like, right? So you said employee handbook, SOPs,
Man, I like that.
training.
I like that. I
So
think
what's
that's
the
a
startup?
sales package.
Just know, Shalena, if you use this as some type of introduction,
Yeah.
like this is the startup clip package, hey, I just want some affiliate link or something like that associated. But
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything like that because every business is going to need something different. And I would rather sit down and have a conversation with you to understand your concerns as opposed to having a package where you can, I need that, because you may not need everything.
But every business no, I disagree. Because Randall, you're going somewhere, and yes, we need to have an affiliate link. Every business needs SOPs, and every business needs an employee handbook.
Agreed.
Those are two things we know they need.
Right.
and if it's new to the business, it's most likely new to the owner, which
Right.
then your assistance in teaching everybody that's under that company or business will be needed as well. So what I got from this is that you got those three things that encompass the startup kit for the HR consulting. And I'm also getting, give or take, depending on how cooperative the owner may be, you're probably looking at upwards to 2 months in getting this from you walking in first time, having the initial conversation with the owner when he's hiring you or interviewing you, to here are your SOPs, here's the training rolled out, everybody's been informed, they signed the proper documentations accepting or acknowledging this is what they'll be held to. So okay, so yeah, so for those of you out there listening, watching, please take heed to what's being shared, right? This is going to save you in the long run. It's going to save you in the long run.
Yeah, and I'm gonna share
affiliate link. We're gonna get the affiliate link. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get it.
The affiliate link is below. Click the link below. But no, real talk. So I'm gonna share one funny story. Is that so? we had Brown's HR consulting firm, and I can't even say consultant, because at this point they were no longer consulting. They were actually helping us implement, right? So I'm just gonna say Brown HR firm, because we actually needed them in a situation to where to mediate to keep the fire down, right? So Randall, you know what the office looked like, right? And we had the long boardroom table. So imagine Shaleena sitting at the head, right? And then you got, some on this side and some on that side, right? And man, it was about to go to blows.
It was hot.
It was fire, brother. And she just sitting at the end with a fire extinguisher. Like, okay, somebody's trying to cross in. No, let them finish.
It was kind of more so about like the communication. You know, if everybody's yelling and screaming, your point is going to get lost in translation. So
no one's listening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but those type of things I'm used to. I'm used to those mediations and those meetings and kind of getting people to see different perspectives and things like that.
That's the Cleveland side. You're able to operate in the chaos. That's what it is.
Cleveland, yes, and then I also got to deal with it within my family still. So I'm used to it.
And the thing about it is, as a business owner, right, you don't want to lose a great employee because you can't control you're cool.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, is it really worth it? Okay, they said something, got underneath your skin, or you didn't like what they said or what they did. But do you really want to risk firing them over something that was said or something that you assume? Because a lot of times it's assumptions, right? And that's what we learned out of our mediation. It was a lot of assumption going on, right? Well, I assumed this and I assumed that. And hold
That's true.
on.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think in those type of situations, we gotta kind of take a step back and look
Yeah.
at the situation that we could have possibly added to the situation.
Absolutely.
Like what type of relationship did I open the door for me to get a response back like this? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
did I, make this too friendly? Did I make it too lackadaisical where you felt
Boundaries. What boundaries I
exactly?
did not set? Because that was one of the things that you were really honing in with us on
Yeah.
as owners,
Mhm.
right? Is that we didn't set proper boundaries. And then when we start to implement boundaries, it was like it's too late.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very good point to bring up because I think with the smaller businesses, you immediately want to bring in your family and your friends because you don't want to pay these high salaries to people you don't know. And then you have the trust and I don't know this person. I don't want this person around my business or my money and all of that. So you're bringing in all the people you've known for years, and then you have this assumption that they would never do that to me, or you know what I mean? Like Don brought up the boundaries, like you still have this relationship with them outside of the business, and then you expect for everything to just turn off when you get to work, but you haven't set that boundary. So they're still talking to you like you're their family or their friend, like you guys, just spent time last night. But it's like when you walk in here, you're my employee or my business partner, or you know what I mean? And if you don't turn that off, they won't either.
Wow. Wow.
So Shaleena, how can people get in contact with you? What's your Instagram? What's your website, number, email? How people can get in contact with you to get their business right?
The Instagram and my website is the same, Brown HR Consulting Firm LLC. But then there's also my email address. It's success at Brown HR Firm. So I'm on Instagram a lot. So if you go to my page, I don't update it a lot, but if you go to my page, you'll see some information there in the way that you can contact me. My website is up as well. So
Got it,
those are
got
the
it, got
ones.
it. So as we close this out, and because part of the Forte experience is to highlight your attributes and then be able to inspire others who are trying to do the same, not only maybe in your industry, but just in general, try to step into the fear, is what I like to call it, or not what I call it, but what I think is the biggest hurdle for people when they're trying to go from what they've been accustomed to and stepping into the uncomfort. So what would be some parting words or some just a nugget, something that you could part with those who are trying to make that transition?
Um, Honestly, I feel like if you dreamed about it, like if you dreamt about it, if you think about it, then just kind of put your work behind it, like put the action behind it. If you can't stop, it's just kind of like shopping. If you can't stop thinking about it, just go ahead and buy it. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's different ways that you can get into HR. You don't have to go full throttle. You can stay in your 9 to 5, your W-2 business, and kind of do a recruiting job, or a recruiting job on the weekend or something like that, just to kind of get your feet wet to see if this is something that you want to do. And as far as business owners needing HR services, you can have a consultation with any HR firm to see if it's something that you can do, if it's something that you're willing to pay for. And of course, you still have to interview those people because their personality may not work with yours. Although they may be providing you a good service that you need, if you guys don't have the chemistry, it's still not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's still a risk, of course, and you still have to vet those people to make sure that they're going to give you what you're looking for.
Got you. Got you. So again, I hope people take away from this. I hope people take heed to what you're saying, to the importance of the services you offer and how they're beneficial to the bottom line in the long run. Although you may think of it as a hit to your bottom line now, it's going to be beneficial to you in the long run.
Mhm.
So again, thank you for taking the time. I know that it's messing up your circadian rhythm a little bit to jump
That's
in
my
on this call.
bedtime.
But yeah, that's all we got, folks. What's your forte?
All right.
All right, let me stop the recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, boom.